Hey
Cameron,
Keith,
hey man, how you doing?
long time no see, man. How you feeling?
Getting better. I have this weird, not COVID slash felt like COVID, but not like it's been going around New York, so I might cough a little here and there, but all good. We'll make it happen. But dude, your
Yeah, all
lighting looks
good.
great.
Thanks. Yeah,
It's like
it's
very, it's like natural daylightish. Yeah,
yeah. I've been working with that a lot, trying to perfect my setup as I was complaining to you before we started recording. But
yeah. So sometimes
camera,
the
not
metering
great.
can get messed up where it meters equally its average versus on like the center or the spot. It takes a while, and then if you don't have like a very regimented lighting that's consistent, like if it's daylight and it's changing, it can mess with all the auto settings and stuff. So
Yeah, I may have to reach over and adjust the light the darker it gets because Windows that way.
yeah,
Anyway,
oh, it's good.
yeah,
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm okay. It's been crazy town, both work and family life. The You plotted some charts for us, and you got some
How,
crazy. I got some crazy going on with my family.
how is are things good? You stable? Are you like better?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, as you and I were just talking, like, well, one, as we transition into thinking about business problems and solving business problems with systems thinking, I more and more become convinced that the knowledge, thoughts, and advice that we're talking about in the design space around how that space is changing and where the world is going in terms of the technology, the tool set, and ultimately the skill sets, we're like spot on. So, we're continuing to build tooling to change the role of design at the company that I'm at. But as a side project, a friend of mine and I took on some design work and some consultative design work to help another friend. And we made the commitment that we were not going to do any traditional design. We were not going to use any current design tooling. We were not going to do any type of standard practice where we sit down, draw a flow diagram, hang the interfaces off the flow diagram, go and review with the customer. We were going to just
Whoa.
take input in from the customer and work in a new AI based coding and interface development program. And we were going to build and test and iterate in real time.
So you're basically like vibe coding the whole thing from start to finish.
We're like vibe designing
I love it. So
and it's building out all of the front end interface with all of the states, the state maintenance and everything. And as you're describing features and functionality, the tooling will actually figure out the next steps of things. It'll stub things out, right? Like you're not going to get an end-to-end workflow as an example. So imagine a kind of
it's
lame
like
use
next
case.
concrete step.
Yeah, you're developing a messaging platform inside your application. So think dashboard with the most recent messages, exploded view where you've got every message. You've got
Yeah.
an ability of sending group messages or a single message. And when you say, hey, I need to add group messaging, literally, the prompt is, I need to add group messaging to this system. And it goes and basically in the page that you're working on inserts the icon for group messaging, follows the same pattern that it already did for single messaging, but adds in the modal so that you can select multiple contacts
Oh, cool.
and then just loads it. I was like, we just with one prompt literally did like 4 hours of work
Dude,
in
4 hours. It's like months of traditional UX with like requirements and flows and like
6 minutes,
approvals.
Keith. 6 minutes,
Holy.
including the time that it took to render it into the current system.
So, what, are you guys using Claude Code, or what you? What's your like stack of how you're kind of building all this stuff, or is this like proprietary?
No, this is fully off the shelf. I don't necessarily want to pitch a platform because the other problem that I have is I am I'm playing with most of the current state of the art, if you will, whether that, and
Yeah.
I'll just mention some of them for people to try out, like whether it's V0 or Build.io or Bolt, or Vercel. I'm playing with all of them. I'm not going to plug one over the other
Yeah.
for a bunch of different reasons, but just imagine that you're in one of those tools and it's happening there, and then from that you have the ability of exporting your bare code, right? Like your HTML, your JavaScript, etc., whatever made up the front end. You have the ability of dropping those things into a repo like GitHub or any of these other things, and then having your development partners who are doing the back end wire up come
Okay.
in and basically work with the code that you've developed. And
Cool. So you have a human doing the back end important security, make
any of
sure
those
it's not.
things,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Okay.
there's templating for some of it, right? Like you can go in and basically be like, I need to, have storage. So like
Sure.
that everything isn't, essentially dynamic. And when you end session, you either have to store things locally in cookies or whatever, or, within your browser. Um, like you said, I need social login. Like they have a bunch of these pre-made plugins for different things, but eventually this is not going to be something that somebody could go from idea to production
You don't want
today.
to code
I
on
bet you
prod.
that in six months from now, I bet you these systems will be robust enough to at least get you a performant and secure, very basic application
Secure
that you
enough.
could put
Yeah.
out and not be worrying about,
Dude, that's
and probably
awesome.
not like dropping that for your customer like Macy's or Safeway or a bank necessarily. But I mean, it's honestly, Keith, even if I were working in a bank, I would probably author all of my stuff,
Yeah. Why not?
export all of this into some repository that I could then pull from at work.
Just sandbox
Or,
it. Exactly.
yeah, or at the very least, I would just cut and paste all my code and, my own repository into some development environment. And, uh, I'm not handing off wireframes. I can tell you that
Dude.
right now.
So it's like being your own, excuse me, agency at this point.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah. I think the more I see, because I was thinking about like, okay, the tools and tricks and kind of like what we were thinking about with like formation conditions and like running like a counterinsurgency to like improve the thing, suspend your ego, all that stuff. The bigger corporations, like they're not going to be. There's going to be a handful that are massive. Like I almost feel like Anthropic and Microsoft, like they're all going to kind of like merge. Like they're going to own pieces of each other and just kind of be this like ultra monolith that's a pieces of each other in a way. But if the tools are getting better, at some point it's going to get easy enough for people even to have like imposter syndrome to be like, you know what, screw it, I'm just going to try it, and then they're going to go from I'll go try it to like, whoa, it can actually make this work where I can make you know a basic web app in like a day versus like 60 hours or so as the pace goes increases, it's like it enables anybody.
So, suffice it to say, this little science project that we're working on, we started. What's today? Thursday. We started Tuesday evening, about this
Oh,
time
cool.
Tuesday evening, and we have the golden path for this rather complex piece of software that will facilitate investor financial investing between venture capital companies and hedge fund companies. All the comms, all of the doc storage, all of the deal making, the
Yeah,
upfront deal.
due
uh,
diligence and compliance and
they can plumb those things in, but we basically have given them the place where they can create a deal room, load the docs, do all the comms securely, right? Like all of this will sit in a secure environment that they can control. Like I only want to comm with these people. I only want, deals and the materials that are related to the deal in this particular repository. All of that, not non work time hours over the last 3 days.
that's crazy.
So like to your point, it's leveled the playing field, and it's exactly what we were talking about in terms of designers are no longer at a place outside of the four walls where it's like, thanks a lot, designer. Really appreciate the wireframes. The development team and I are going to go off and do some things, and we'll tell you when we need refinements to your design. Like, I've never had a smoother customer meeting last night ever in my consultative life, where I'm
Wow.
like, and they're like, what about this? Could you do this? Yeah, hang on a minute. And they're talking to us and saying,
You're
well,
doing it
you
in
know,
real
actually
time.
we need the ability to message certain groups as a mass, certain groups like as we pick them, and individuals. Like I want to be able to go back and forth with the other person on this particular deal and have it outside of the flow of, you know, the running thing, right? Oh, I want to have the ability of like, if Keith and I are talking about something important and it needs to be in the core, you know, comm flow, just basically boop boop and have that go into like the running conversation. Yeah, no problem. And like we're just querying and prompting inside of a set of queries that we've developed, and the thing's doing it. You know, it's like
Oh
so
my god.
crazy.
So
So
were you spinning this up on your own and kind of discovering it? Or are you working with somebody who's done vibe code design stuff
you
beforehand? You
got
just kind of like,
two completely code ignorant designer business people, myself
cool.
and, you know, long-term collaborator who, you know, used to work for me directly and then went to Macy's with us, left Macy's, went to Albertsons, left Albertsons, came to Amazon, right? So like
Yep.
longtime collaborator, and neither of us can code. We're technical at the architecture level, like we understand
Systems.
the infra that ends up being, you know, the underlying system, but we can't, I can't link storage to a database to a visualization system.
And why do you need to know how to do that now?
I
It's like,
don't. I mean, that's a problem I'm solving in my day job, Keith. So, you know, like, so we gave ourselves a challenge to basically see if we could figure out these tools, do something at rational scale for us, right? Which is consulting and getting to a place where we are not just defining the product static, we're defining the product and all of its states and all of its front end, and
yeah.
being in a place where we're going to go and meet with a actual developer who will do the infrastructure and the back end wire up either tomorrow or Saturday, and
Dude,
literally
that's nuts.
see if
It's like a week.
our code is at the quality that he can take it in and actually start wiring up the functionality behind all that.
Oh my god. So how would you recommend somebody get started doing something like this?
Pay the $30 a month for one of these systems and just go play.
Just kind of
Like
figure it out.
honestly, it took us about 3 hours to get a environment up and going that met our needs in terms of the visual look. Like the visual look and feel actually took some of the longest time because we're like, no, that's not quite right. Like,
Yeah.
and you have to kind of define the atomics of whatever it is that you're doing, and then once you
Like
do
the
that, it just follows through, right? Like it knows and keeps track of the you know, call to action button is a totally stupid example, and that should always
yeah,
be this particular color no matter where it is
with a
until
certain
you
drop
tell it to
shadow
do
or
something.
whatever.
All
Yeah.
that, all the typography, all of the like iconography. It took us,
So the
like I said, about
design takes the like longest part in the upfront, and once you kind of get like the
yep,
design system in
yep.
place, you just kind of like, okay, cool. Now we can start building the modules of like what we're doing.
And this is again, like I
Dude,
want
I
to
gotta
make
check this
sure
out.
I'll take you on a tour at some point.
Nice.
So this is again where I think we need to stress systems thinking, design thinking, and business thinking, right? And
Okay, say more.
so to do this well, you still have to think in systems. You have to, like I was saying, you have to think about the atomics first. Like, hey, what am I trying to build? What is the style of it? You've got to define those things. And for some things, I'm just throwing out the visual look and feel of the branded thing because these guys care about that. It's important that when this
Yeah,
thing gets presented to partners and investors, that it look professional, it looks, modern and like a solid financial institution, if you will, right? Like,
you're asking for money. It's got to look like it comes from money, people. Like, yeah,
and
brand.
the idea creator is out of Big Four Consulting, and the collaborator, the person who is wanting us to get this to a certain point before they invest money, is from a very, very large bank,
Okay,
right? So we're not playing
but there's
founder at this point. We have like the two key players already involved because we were brought in. It's like, I'm going to get these guys that really understand design and product development to come in and take apart the problem space and then basically build the software or build the design. At first they were just like, just lay out the flows and figure out, the interface, and then we'll figure out how to get it built. I'm like, pause on that. And then that's when George, my longtime collaborator, is like, let's not do this the way we would normally do it. Let's do it as AI driven and as dynamic as we can, because for our day jobs, we're kind of like, got to figure this out, and we're building something similar that is much, much greater in scale, right? It's not going to enable two dudes trying to figure out an investor website. It's going to
yeah,
be the thing that somebody like, say, Anthropic needs to build a custom knowledge base for their employees to train everybody as they come in on all of the previous science, if you will, for certain things, right? Like that type of an application is what we're trying to build, or have a system that enables somebody in a company like that to build a giant knowledge base, as an example, right? They can build anything, but
right.
like that knowledge base at scale is not a simple problem to solve. So the tool that
No,
we're building sits on top of obviously a very large cloud infrastructure, and we want to have people think about the application and then have the infrastructure come along with the interaction, where the tooling that
got
we're
it.
using right now doesn't necessarily bring the infrastructure along. It kind of stubs it out, and then we're going to need to find a human to connect all the infrastructure.
Well, it sounds like there's like a very specific business need in terms of like communication and like deal flow and like getting everything in place to talk about it, to have the discussion that's like legally or financially like copacetic and like
You got it.
auditable or whatever.
You got it.
So there's a very specific business problem that you're trying to solve that they've obviously had like a hard time trying to like get over doing it like the old way. So that I think is like the design and business thinking part where it's like you're not just like making some website, you're kind of like prompting, you kind of got this basic design system in place in 3 to 5 hours that was like, okay, here's kind of like the look and feel and kind of like the vibe, for lack of a better term, of it. And then you're like, okay, let's start with like, you're gonna have to have logins, you're gonna have to have like profiles, and it's gonna be like this kind of an app is what we're trying to do, boom, boom, boom. So it kind of has context, and you kind of go from there, and then
And
yeah,
and that's what I'm trying to get back to, is like, to do this well, like, misnomer. I'm going to hand anybody a tool and all of a sudden they're a designer. I'm going to hand anybody a tool and all of a sudden they're a developer. I'm going to hand somebody a tool and all of a sudden they're a founder, right? There's going to be a percentage of the population that can do that. But really, again, where the systems thinker, and I don't just want to say designer because there are other roles. So I think I'm starting to genericize my language. The person that is a systems thinker will
yep,
go through and systematically start to define the world that they're playing in, right? And for us, we immediately took apart, what is the problem space? Who is the customer that this is being built for? And who is the audience this is going through? And we were like, brand, super important. Define brand first, because like one of the things that you don't want to try and do, since this is a very visual process, is reinsert that in after you've built a bunch of stuff. So let's slow down. Let's take the time to define the visual system. All right, next, like, flow throughs. They're throwing out features. Hey,
the old
people
way.
people need to talk. People need, group talk. They need to secure group talk. individual group talk, individual talk, like all these things. And we're just like, okay, okay, got it. We're like, get to that. Let's stay high level, right? There's comms, there is docs, there are deals, there are contacts. And we're starting to just build these buckets of things, right? And then it was funny because we go from the buckets. We're like, okay, let's talk about all the things that are in a deal bucket as an example. All right, let's talk about all the things that are in a contact bucket. All
There's
right, let's talk
time,
about,
there's cash, there's assets and
yeah,
liability. Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, all yeah.
So from that, we literally got to like the information architecture, the navigation system, all that stuff
It just
within
comes organically based on the requirements of like what you're explaining as like your main buckets.
yeah, like another 5 minutes, 10 minutes. By the end, we're just like, okay, got it, and they're like, and then people are starting to be like, well, the nav system can't have all those things. And I'm like, the nav system is going to have almost nothing in it. It's literally going to be like contacts, deals.
Yeah,
It's like,
docs. Yeah, all this, all the basic bullshit. Yeah,
and then we took a dive into competitive systems in this particular space, right? This like investor enablement space, and they just overwhelm the user with so much information. Like you hover over a particular contact and you get this fold out splay of information on the contact. I was like, why do I need that? And
it's
of
like
course,
post
the investment
Bloomberg terminal kind
totally.
of
It's
thing.
exactly
Yeah,
that, Keith. It's like this, like you tap, like you F10, and you get this exploded view of Keith.
yeah.
You get this exploded view of Cam, and it's like, does anybody look at that stuff? And and so then of course the person at the bank is literally like, well, that becomes really important if I want to go through my all of my contacts and understand, who knows about deal making in retail. And I'm like, well, wouldn't a smart querying engine, aka in this moment AI, basically just be like, hey John, it's Keith, it's Cam, it's George, and it's Steve. Like, why do am I making you the human being go process through all the, and you could just see the like, and I was like,
Because
this
it's
isn't even
hardwired.
really AI. This is a good search engine, right?
Well, it's AI to build the product to like just facilitate the speed of development. I mean,
So of course, again, we're like, well, let's just try it, right? Like, let's tell it that we need a querying engine that can break the contact into all these things, and it brings up like a little like search box. It brings up a filtering system. It like
it's all
takes
been
each
done
of the.
before.
It's all been done before. So it takes like all the features all of the header for each of the form fields we have, and it basically just turns it into a querying engine. Brilliant.
That's amazing. I mean, because in a way, it's like it's the best. It should pull the best of the best that people are used to right now. I think it just everything got so kind of commoditized from like an interaction and like a design standpoint because there's only so many ways you can design like all this like there's that meme of like the start it's like are you startup one or startup two based on like if it's like the header and like the CTA and then like the layout there's like two basic layouts that kind of like change a little bit because it's the same way that print looks the same because it's it's portrait and whatever it's like a certain size so you're right I think at some point what ends up happening is like the designers who are really good aren't going to want to work for agencies or big places. They're going to just be like, oh, I can do this myself and charge half of what these big places charge and make like 80% margins doing it because it's so fast now that it's like, why would you stay, stay as a large corporation at this point?
Well, I mean, and it's such low overhead too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's all those things that you and I'd be like, oh God, that's gonna take weeks. Like we know what we need to do. Now we got to go and marshal the resources. Oh, who are we going to get to do this? Who's going to design? Who's going to do the visual design? Who's going to do the interface design? Oh, we need somebody to sit with you and I. We need Till to sit with you and I and like do the information architecture. You don't need any of those people. Like
Yeah.
it's it's working as fast as you can conceive the things, but again, where I keep coming back to the leg up for the systems thinker. I'm 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 because I'm in front of the keyboard for part of this meeting. I'm the scribe and I'm typing in, what the person on the other end of the phone is telling me, and I'm like, I'll just create a query based on the things that they're telling me. They obviously know what they're talking about better. It just gets totally convoluted quick, and I was like, all right, I know what you're saying. I'm not going to type exactly what you're saying. I'm going to query the thing, and I'm going to do it in the context that I understand. And I'm just adding a little bit of detail, and all of a sudden, it's like putting the functionality in the right place, like
It's your
geographically on
own
the page.
filter and experience processing what they're saying they want, not just putting a brain dump in there to kind of get them back out what they really need.
Yeah. And, that's what I'm saying. The people that think in systems, like, start here, build on top of this, now go to this, edit away, once you've established those things. But you really have to start thinking about, this is on top of this, is on top of this. These things are connected. And if you can't do that, trying to talk to a machine to get it to understand those things in context, it's just going
It's
to be like
garbage in, garbage
explosion.
out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yep.
that's why you have people going crazy with AI and having like psychotic breaks because they're feeding it nonsense, and it's just it only is as it only gives you back, it reflects back what you put in, and it's cumulative. So it's the same kind of thing where if you don't know how to structure these ideas or kind of like see these things, I don't know. You can teach systems thinking in terms of like their stocks and flows, and but I kind of wonder if how much if everybody do people have it naturally based on how they see, like some people who design who are just like look and feel and really good at it, they're gonna like be really fast at the beginning part, and then they may have to, it's like you have to kind of start with something simple, and maybe it's about like what is the kind of core resonant loop somebody is like innately vibing with that they can
Yeah.
kind of learn to branch out of, and maybe that's the Trojan horse to kind of get them to systems think better for the rest of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I
And I
mean?
mean, also, expertise in a given area is
Exactly.
still really important, right? Like, if he's George and I, George is a really great world builder, right?
Oh
Like,
god, he's perfect for this stuff.
he's like a way better world builder than I am. And by that, I mean, once he figured out all the branding, he then started to structure the main system that we're working in, all of the different sort of redundant pieces that are repeated, right? Like, he built the basic pattern. And then as I'm now fleshing out details in a given area, like, I'm really good at communication flows as an example. Like, I'm really good with like sender, message, receiver, like all day, every day, back and forth.
Yep.
And so I'm coming up with these tertiary features for this part of the system that, I they're pretty innate to me, but not to everybody else. And, he's back working on kind of the deal flow. This is how something moves from point A to point B to C to D. Here's all of the like
The
notifications that need to
waypoints.
send when things move from one place to the other. And he's really thinking through like all the mechanics of that, where
So it's
I'm not as good at that. And,
so it's two system thinkers who can go micro and macro, but each of you have either a macro focus or a micro focus that you do well. So it's like that's like the 80-20.
yeah, yeah. So
That's cool too.
yeah, it just goes to show that, while we think we can drop a designer or a business person from one detailed industry into another, the more complex the interaction, if you will, that you're trying to design, or in some cases, like with banks and compliance,
Oh god, yeah.
like the security, when we get down to the security stuff, we're going to need to bring the person from the bank back in to talk about all of the security compliance before we
Yeah.
start building that, because
Yeah, but if you have like a skeleton and like a working body and like an armature around it, like it's much easier because the AI is so complex now that you could just be like, okay, have a talk with Jose or whatever, and you have you filter it, put it to the AI, and it's like you're not just putting it in there. It's like help me build a spec to put this security into this kind of like framework that we're building right now, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
And then it's like part two, how do I test this to make sure all these use cases are like bulletproof as much as it could be? You know, test them yourself. How would you break it if you were a red teamer or a hacker? So it's kind of like this recursive, thinking. I mean, there's like some tricks you can learn to it, but I think having a pair person who you communicate really well with, I think is kind of like a secret unlock to all this too. Because doing it on your own, there's in the initial part, it sounds like there's a lot of like ramping up and kind of like domain knowledge to kind of like you have to kind of get to the initial, like you said, the first 3 hours is like a little bit of a slog to kind of get the brand and look and all the basic wiring kind of put together before you can start actually seeing a working thing and getting kind of the payoff to induce the flow. But yeah, I think it helps having somebody you can communicate well with.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we oftentimes underestimate the value of the human comms and the human connection between two people figuring out a problem. And,
Yeah,
you know, while it may seem to a company or a customer to be more expensive, it actually is, in the beginning, when you start at zero, it's obviously going to be more expensive. But having two people work on something prevents one person from getting completely stuck on something.
yeah,
And at the
totally.
same time, now we're diverging. Like he's on one path, I'm on another, and we're working in tandem at the same time. So you're going
Yeah,
to get twice the amount of features developed tonight, as an example, as you would if it was just me.
yeah, and if you guys have a good like communication rapport and you like understand each other on like not like a telepathic level, but it's easy to like talk and understand. Like you have an almost intuitive sense of what each other is thinking and what like the vibe is. Then that I think is important too, because I think anything human wise that you have an issue with, normal collaboration gets like amplified with all this AI stuff. And if you do something well, it's way easier and it goes way faster. And if it's like there's an issue, like you're gonna find out real fast that there's an issue.
Yeah. 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 So
Cool.
it's a really interesting time, I think. And, you know, I've been processing a lot of this. Like, honestly, it's a little bit like, what does it all mean? Right.
Total. Oh, dude.
Um,
Yeah. Everyone's going to get that right now.
yeah, I know. And I'm really empathetic. I think I've become, even since the last time you and I recorded, I've become a lot more empathetic to that. Um, but it is, like we've said before, this is not an all hope is lost moment.
Oh no.
This is a iterate, learn, be curious, tap into the things that have made you successful in the past. And I now more than ever believe that systems thinking is actually the most important thing in this moment in terms of being relevant and in terms of solving problems. And you're going to have to layer on top like an innate curiosity and an experimental nature where you're just like, I'm going to try it. And if it doesn't, like, we literally were working on a deadline, but I'm like, we got to try this because the unlock to our future time drop, if we
Yep.
don't have to figure out and I don't have to go and source and I don't have to transfer all of this knowledge to somebody else, we're going to move really fast. And, we went back and forth with all of the different tooling and then the process that we would go through. I'm like, well, if we did it all in Figma, like we're fast in Figma, we could probably design all of this stuff quickly. We could probably get to a place where we'd have a relevant prototype that we could show people, get them to a place of understanding and core and concrete understanding, right? Like we could still click through an actual model and show them things. But
Yeah.
like we couldn't work in real time with the customer where the customer's like, well, what if we tried this? Or, hey, what do you guys think of this? We also would be in a cycle of ingest requirements, go away and design, review, take in changes, take in new requirements, go away and design. And I was like, I just think the closer we can get to code, the better. And I mean, honestly, like my collaborator George was really instrumental in being like, it may slow us down, and if it does, we can go back to Figma. But I think we need to try one of these like AI enabled coding tools. Like,
Yeah. Well, it's going to be
What do we have to
slow at
lose?
first. Yeah, because you got to figure out your process and it's something new. So the innovation path is slow at first, but as you just keep going through more cycles of it, it just gets faster because you got more seat time. And then you start getting more efficiencies because you're like, oh, now I can do this.
Yeah. Yeah. So that
Dude,
compression, though, the one other thing that, I think you and I need to keep harping on is like these individualized roles that we all had, these lanes that we were in,
oh,
it's
dude, they're
really
gone.
blurry right now. And and I think the people that think the biggest, they're going to end up being the winners in this situation, right? Like you can teach yourself after a while how to make better queries or how to start to break your things down contextually into something that an LLM can understand. Like that knowledge and that fluency comes quick, but you have to keep the bigger picture in mind while you're like you said it really well. Like you have to keep the ability of going like macro micro, but having the entire system in mind as you're doing it.
It's like
That
sculpture.
becomes really important because it the one thing I'm also learning is you can start to introduce deviation into your system. If you're not careful in like when you're querying to like make functionality happen in this example, and I mean it's the same thing in writing. I've seen it happen when you use an LLM to do writing. um, you can start to insert deviation, and the deviation gets wider and wider if you're not eye on the entire system. And sometimes
You
you have
got
to take a break from the creation and go and do the inspection and be like, oh, wow, like somewhere along the
recap.
lines, this changed. And I've got to make sure that we don't cast ourselves off into a different direction, like without knowing it. So I think those become the new sort of tricks of the trade, or the new like expertise that you need to basically continue to blur those lines.
I'm wondering if there's a way to instruct how to convert systems thinking to leverage. Because a lot of people who naturally kind of have that, where they're like, they just kind of pull the pieces together from the whole, they can go, it's like gestalt thinking. Like they kind of have macro, micro, or they don't. And then you think you can learn it, like you said, with the kind of LLMs and like learning how to refine prompts and break ideas down into like more concrete structures. But I wonder, like, the flows and the sitemaps I like doing the whole time just because it was helping me figure out the micro macro of what was going on. It was giving me the conceptual shape of what was getting built and where kind of like the buckets of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wonder if there's going to be like a new wave of information architecture tools to just scale systems really fast. Because this kind of stuff now you're talking about, it's like, okay, push a button, the environment set up the way I like it. It's like getting your tools in Figma set up where it's like, okay, I got like my little wireframe modules and whatever that I can kind of just pull stuff, and I got like my breakpoints or whatever. It's like, but even that, it's like it should just be basically a standard now.
Yeah.
It's like I don't want to have to think about that. It's like that's just like it's tedious. It's like having to go like shave for 30 minutes. It's like, dude, I want this time back. Like seriously, like I don't want to do this tonight.
Yeah. It's a great point. I mean, that I left that out, right? I was so excited, kind of to talk to you about the actual workings of
Yeah.
this not just interface design, but this product design, that we're doing. But you're right. Like I have 2 weeks of Fig Jam behind that, right? And that isn't time lost. It isn't a waste of time. It was 2 weeks of human conversation with multiple people, and the collection of the ideas and the translation of the ideas. Look, you're right. Like there goes. I'm blown out because
Dude, the volume went down too that you had. So I wonder if it's like an auto setting.
that's weird.
How do,
Anyway,
how do your levels sound when you
yeah,
look
they're
at
all
it and just
right.
talk?
Yeah,
Okay. Now it's
it's
getting better
fine.
again.
But that
Fig
Fig
Jam.
Jam collection of both ideas and then ultimately pre-structure, right? Like, hey, we need to think about these. Like we set up our own buckets before we did a bunch of client and customer interactions, and we all contributed, right? Like our collaboration happened there, and it was slow because it starts with a bunch of talking. Well, like, what do we know? Well, like, how do we
Yeah.
know this? And again, everybody's bringing their expertise in. You've got the person from the bank talking about finances. You've got the person from Big Four Consulting talking about, sales and marketing and how you attract an audience, how you, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Like how collaboration works when it comes to deal making. And then I'm translating how collaboration works.
Who's the customer and how's it going to work across all the domains?
Yeah,
Who's
and
the
I'm thinking
real?
about digital systems at that point. Like, all right, well, how do we turn this into something that we can move into an interface and ultimately have some kind of a system to manage and
To
maintain this
test
stuff? Yeah. So,
but even that, it's like to me, it's the most fun part. Like the discovery part is the most fun because it's like you're learning all this new stuff. People who are normally in these boring silos feel like they're being creative. Like I made a quick joke, kind of half joke post about like everybody feels like Steve Jobs and they have post-it notes because they're like, oh my god, I'm getting my ideas out and I can like move things around, and it's kind of a hack, but it's equally as important because if you set that up properly, like the structure, it's important to get that kind of those domains figured out, because then it's just the build gets much faster, much easier because you have like a lot of the hard lifting done. Because it's like that's what builds your brand. It's like what is the vision? What is the value system? What, like the real shit, not like we're equitable and we're safe and whatever those things are. It's just like a lot of that is like corporate BS rather than no, like we're secure, we're legit, like this is high net worth, like these are bankers, like these guys they have sat phones and they have two of them because they got backups and they don't have time for downtime, like, and they've got
money
money
never
to afford
sleeps,
it.
Keith. The money never
Dude,
sleeps.
it's like the new Gordon Geckos, you know what I'm saying?
This is your wake up call, Keith Conway.
Oh my god. But
uh,
yeah, dude, I want to talk to you more about this later because I've had ideas for apps that I've wanted to kind of like do, and I haven't had enough time to. You have to put some seed time in. I feel like to kind of just like you said, just play and experiment and just BS with it and just have fun. But anybody who's employed right now and who's like, this job sucks, but I don't want to leave because of the recession and whatever, like experiment. Spend the $30 on, Claude and like Vercel or whatever. Like there's tons of videos on YouTube on people who've done this, and just try it and see what happens and keep it like really simple. Like think of like a simple idea. Like I would love to have a contextual search engine that could just look through all my photos, all my text, all my stuff, because I take a lot of screenshots to kind of like hard code the date into things, and like things you see on Twitter, it changes, they delete it, whatever. So
yeah.
I've been doing this for ages, and like the search doesn't work that well on Apple yet. Like you can do it on your phone unless I don't know. I want to have control of my own thing. I want to roll my own local LLM with like a smaller quantized version of DeepSeek or something, and then just be able to go through it fast. Find me this. Where is that? Because if you're editing video, it's like I know I have this clip of this thing. Can you find this for me somewhere in the last 10 years that I was doing shooting? And it's like, oh yeah, it's right here. Boom. There you
Yeah.
go. And then it's like making you get faster with the things you want to do.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the other thing, like the state of business right now, I I don't know.
Dude, it's weird.
If you can't have a conversation about this and you're not knowledgeable about the basics of how these things work, right? Like forget trying to necessarily apply this to your day job. Your experimentation at this point is just so you're knowledgeable about what it is and how it works. Like I have a hard time believing that these conversations are not happening in every corporate environment right now. And if you're the lone resource at this point who's like, I don't know. I mean, that's got to be it, like a detriment. Like I would imagine. Like I hate to say this, and I mean honestly, I hope this isn't happening, but I also believe it probably is happening. If you're the one person who's like, nope, you probably are going to be looked at as the like Luddite, right? It's like
You're the first to go.
It's like, hey,
I
flat
mean,
earther, like hate to tell you this, but you may be packing your stuff into the banker's box and seeing your way out.
yeah, well,
I don't want
it's
to do
hard.
that, but I
No,
just
but I also think there's going to be restructuring that's happening, and they're going to say it's because of AI efficiencies, and they just need to cut. They just need to cut weight because the costs are
Oh,
too high
dude.
right
I
now.
mean, ask me how I know this. Like,
No, but this isn't. This is everywhere because you're still see like, dude, the jobs numbers have been fucking faked for the past
yeah,
like 4 years. They did
I know.
revisions. It's mark to market data,
I
and
mean,
then this.
yeah, that's for real. That's for real.
So, and you want to talk macro micro? I mean, what I was excited to talk to you about partially. This is cool, and I dig that you're getting into this because I've been not there, but I'm like slightly right behind. Is like, dude, Intel basically getting a 10% ownership from the U.S. government now, where they converted the grant from the Biden administration into stock, and it's like they initially went all in from only the paranoid survive to like, hey, we bet the government or someone huge is going to be our next best customer. We're going to build fabs everywhere.
Yeah.
Now, dude, the government has a modular fab for like a war of bits, not bombs. And what's happening right now? Dude, people are doxing people. Like, people on X are doxing people on Blue Sky because of the rhetoric against certain people who were murdered or assassinated or shot and whatever. Politics aside, it's like a holy war in like a giant MMORPG that's getting rolled together, and it's like I see this and I'm like, oh my god, this is the cover of like what the hell is coming. This is why people don't see what's happening, and it's like you
Yeah.
can't,
It's
you
not
know,
great. I mean, for
no,
sure. Like, and I found myself even, as these things are unfolding, it's like, and I had to check myself. I'm gonna just say it. Like,
we all
my
do, dude. It's you're human.
my first inclination was, well, the left has finally gotten kinetic, right? Like,
It was a step change. Once there's like political assassinations, it's like suicide bombers from Iraq and the
and
GWOT,
and
like global war
it's
on terror.
and like we're always talking about it in the news. It's like homegrown terrorism, right? And I don't want to live in that country. I really don't. But
Yeah,
there was that sick, very human side of me. Politics aside, anybody that feels like they've been wronged and their side finally
yeah.
grows some teeth and fights back, and you're just kind
It's
of
the
like,
lizard
well,
brain, dude.
yeah, it's totally the lizard brain. It was like he had it
That's what
coming, and
it
like that.
it
That's a sick, sick place to be. It's not a good place to be.
it's the amygdala hijack they teach you in social engineering, but broadcast on a mass scale through algorithms, and it's hard, man.
Yeah,
I can feel it in the city. People are getting like more ornery. They're paying less attention. They're just like acting like there's nothing around them in their physical space, and I'm like, you feel like Neo dodging bullets in the Matrix, just trying not to get like run over by some guy in his phone, stopping halfway on the stairwell to look down. I'm like, dude, like, get the fuck out of the way. Like, what the hell? Like, come on. And it's just, I don't know, man. So in a way, everybody's human. We're all figuring this out. Like, no one knows what the hell's really going on. Astrologically, these things haven't happened in like 6,500. There's so many big, huge transits that are happening right now that it's like an unreal time to be alive. But I think that's also, there's an illusion of it's doom and gloom, but things are just, they are, there's some tragedy, but it's like bittersweet. You have to find the way, and you have to kind of keep the light on and keep the curiosity going and just try new stuff. Like, the old way is not going to work at all anymore.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, I gotta
I,
say, like, I've been struggling to, outside of this and a few other things that I do to keep my brain working and sharp,
turning
uh,
wrenches.
turning wrenches or, like participating in different like think tank type things. I've been feeling a little bit lost, but I gotta say, like, and why, like, today was a great day because, we had a bunch of success with this particular thing that we're working on, but I haven't really been jacked about work and work life and all
Nah.
the things we were just talking about, being curious and figuring things out. Like, I haven't wanted to figure things out that are work related in a really long time. And this
Yeah.
week has been all about unbridled curiosity and experimentation in a very, like,
It's fresh
not
air.
low risk, but like pretty low risk environment where, like, we can't really fail. And even if we could, who
Yeah, it doesn't
cares,
harm. Yeah.
Like, the learning is the most important thing right now.
yeah, right now we're in between eclipses. right? And it's like Pisces, Virgo. Pisces is the end of the zodiac, and Aries begins, and that's where the Saturn Neptune comes together in February. That's a 6,500 year cycle.
Mm.
So it's like a brand new embodiment, but it's like Saturn is structure, Neptune can be like deception or delusion, but Aries is like war. So this is like a structured holy war people are being pushed into. But again, I still think about it only takes like a handful, a small percentage of people to like start the change that other people see. Like, oh, it's like all of a sudden it's easy to like the crowd takes over kind of thing, or it's like
Yeah.
the you know.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think a lot of people are also disenfranchised with. I send out 100 applications. I use AI to help me. The recruiters use AI to filter the things. Like nothing. Like it's a giant. It's like everyone's throwing every color possible, and it's all just brown. And it's like this is terrible. It's like this is no. This isn't helping anybody,
Yeah.
and it just makes people more risk averse.
Yeah. I mean, the
You know.
synthetic nature of things or the potential synthetic nature of things doesn't feel great. But again, it's like there is some synthesis of our knowledge base, our greater human repeatability, if you will, and taking advantage of that to make your life simpler, easier, or better.
Yeah.
That's one way of looking at it, like you can get really caught up in, oh, everything is synthetic and I'm participating in the synthetic nature of everything. Or you can frame it and basically be like, look, I'm going to take control of this situation and use these technologies and this synthetic stuff to enrich my life and give myself some time back to do things that I
That you
care
want
about,
to do.
right?
Yeah. Family,
Like,
kids, relationships, health, like the real value based food groups.
and I miss picking up tools at times and on the back end having a stack of wireframes. Sure, like I loved those moments where you and I would spread things out all over the floor and be like, oh, look at this, like, I'll move that over there. I miss that. But at the
Yeah.
same time, like, what I realized I really have been missing is the transition of idea in my head to tangible deliverable. And it's like, it's been such a slog to get that over the last 10 years that, like, to come full circle, it's like that leveling of the playing field and not being reliant on somebody else who controls my ultimate destiny is ultra freeing.
I think that's what's breaking a lot of people's brains is that
I think it is too.
they're so used to the system relying on it a certain way, like 401ks and PTO and whatever, and it's like that's not really going to last a while. It's all in transformation right now, and it's
Yeah.
like if people didn't want to have any accountability, then it's like it gets even harder because you're trying to rely on somebody else to like tell you or show you how to do it.
Yeah. And maybe not to go like full lizard brain or full evolution brain, but the humans that survive anytime anything transitions are the ones that learn to use the tools, right? Like the people that had fire,
Yeah,
they outlasted the people that didn't quite figure out fire. The people that like turned stone tools into iron tools ended up dominating the people who had the stone tools, right? Like, I mean, it's
adaptability is key. It's the
it
Banner of the
is
Macy's deck.
it is, and being in a place where you've got the idea and now you have the tooling to make the idea actually work, or at least
Be
free your
open.
brain.
Yeah, it's at work where I'm at now. It's been helping people see how not to be like what happened with the computer? Why did it break? Like, why did my Wi-Fi turn off? I'm like, I don't know. Maybe hit some hotkey. What happened? I'm like, it turned off. If this thing happens again, just look to the Wi-Fi, turn it back on. I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not. This isn't like your credentials are getting stolen, or this isn't like a security thing. It's like some bullshit Microsoft Windows update that you can't turn off that might have done this because like it flipped some bit in the BIOS. She's like, what? I'm like, just trust
Just
me.
go with it.
I know. I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm watching our 6. Like, I built a standing desk, and as I was locking up that one night, I saw there was like the door panel was loose, and I'm like, did this place get broken into? Because I'd never noticed it. I'm usually, me, I'm like always like
Yeah, you're
hyper,
like
like
looking. Yeah.
yeah, all
Yeah.
the
You're
time.
vigilant.
Yeah, and I'm like, it turned out it was always kind of messed up, and I'm like, how did I never not see this? But anyway, so I'm always looking at that stuff because it's important. Like the red teaming part is something I realized this past couple weeks too, is like not turning my brain off from not fitting in predefined groups. You're not a hacker. You're not a red teamer. You can't like, but it's all bullshit. Like fuck it. Like whatever. Like I'm always red teaming stuff with my mind. I'm always like breaking it in my, not to like be nefarious, but to like, this could be stronger and better this way, because you find new business cases, or you find new like design cases, or how to like make the whole thing work better. It's like, it's what Vegas was. Vegas, I was like, but Vegas was pissing me off because I'm like, they could make so much money if they just improve the customer experience rather than trying to like milk the bottom like 30% of like the economy from people.
Yeah.
And now they're wondering why they're not making any money. And it's like, well, here you
Guess
go.
who gets to fly to London in a few weeks to talk about making certain types of gaming more,
dude, that's gonna be amazing. Are you kidding?
more adaptable.
Cam, fire up that LLM and make a demo, dude. Vercel, okay, so how do we make this gaming more adaptable?
God, Keith, it's like there's part of it that I'm like, I can't. Like, this feels a little bit like those moments when we were at Macy's. It was like, how do we increase the bag size from X to Y? How do we get these people to try a new service and increase the bag from X to Y? Like,
so that to me is it's important to have a measurable goal, because you don't want to like just spin your wheels and play around and not have anything to show for it. But it's also detrimental to be so like parts per million or so measurable on everything that it's like you miss the point of what the unlock really is. Because it's like, fine, going from $80 to $100, sure, it's like, well, whatever, 20%, whatever, 30 whatever percent increase. But it's like, when I was at Estee Lauder, they realized that if they had virtual beauty advisors in like the lab coat and they had all the knowledge, like the cart doubled, like more, because it was women talking to women. And it's like someone had an affair, the dog just died, and they're, it's like, you got to buy this and this. Like they're fucking buying all kinds of crazy shit. And it was just like, they were like, what the hell? And then, dude, it was on Flash, right? There's 3 guys who built this company. And I told one of the head marketing people, I'm like, you're not going to do this. I'm going to tell you to do it, but I'm telling you because you're not going to do it. She's like, really? What? I'm like, you guys need to go buy this company right now. And you need to go turn it to HTML5, and then you need to white label it and give it to every other freaking like Clarins, Clinique, give it to everybody, and then take, like a subscription fee or like do something. Because then if it makes it better for everybody and it's proven to work, which it has, I'm like, you just built a freaking ATM machine. And she was just like, what? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, this would cost you guys like 10, 15, $20 million right now. Those guys would be psyched. 3 dudes out of like MIT, they'd be like, I made money. And for you guys, it's like the artwork in the hallways of fucking Estee Lauder cost more than like what the acquisition cost would have been. But they couldn't do it because the brand team hated the production team. It's just like, I'm like,
yeah. Well, I mean, you lived through that with me at Macy's with the stupid beauty box. Remember that?
Oh my God, yeah. It's like,
and it was like the brief comes down. We need to modernize our beauty brand. We're like,
we can't find the thing because the search doesn't work.
Well, and then remember on the back end, dude, it's exactly what you described. The merchandising people are like, we can't go back to Estee Lauder and tell them that they need to throw this in the box. I'm like, why not? And they're just like, they won't do that. It was like, and even if they do, then we've got to figure out like, and then it became, I mean, they were throwing around words like FedFill. And I was like, you guys are worrying about like checking this stuff into an inventory management system. I'm like, we're going to run an experiment. We're going to run it for like 6 months and see what happens. Oh, we can't do that. We can't tell Estee Lauder that a channel's going to go away. And I'm like, guys, call them and tell them what you're trying to do and see what happens. And of course they call Estee Lauder, and Estee's like, oh yeah, we're in. Like,
of course.
How much of this nonsense do you need, and where do we send it? And Dylan's like, you send it to 680 Folsom Street in San Francisco. And like, I'm not joking, Keith. Months of like boxes showing up from different like beauty company, Clinique, and it's like
because they knew.
I mean, he was a consultant and he literally got fired for that.
Oh my
because
God.
it didn't. The boxes came, they didn't get checked into some inventory management system, and somebody was worrying about like all of these things that you don't need to worry about at the point where
Dude,
you're trying to do experimentation. You are not worried about like loss prevention at that moment.
no,
Like
no,
if
no.
half that shit like disappears, it doesn't matter. And they're just like,
They were pissed they
we
couldn't
can't.
take credit for the idea. That's why
Yes,
they threw him
Keith,
under the
that's
bus.
exactly
Let's
what
call
it
a spade a
was.
spade. Let's call politics. But these are the kind of things. Maybe what would be awesome is if people. So there's like a a feature on the website that we have, which it's still like beta, whatever. You can record audio and send questions in. It'd be amazing to get people's like political bullshit they have to deal with and send them in, and then have us red team it. How would you fix it? How would you address it?
Oh, I would love
How
that.
would you not get fired and shot, dude? I would love that. We'd be so good at this too, because it's like
That could be like a segment every week if people actually like submitted stuff. It'd be so fun to do.
I think
So fun to
we
do.
should make video clips and put this out because Dylan red teamed the thing. He's like, no, you send it here. You don't send it to New York. You send it to San Francisco.
Well,
we're
he
gonna
kept
deal
showing
with
up
it.
to my office and he's like, dude, like, and you know, I'm admitting this, but it'll be good marketing for this idea if like people send us our ideas. So he would come into my office every day, largely for the, is it going to be okay? And I was like, I don't know, but we should do it anyway. And the
Figure
best
it
thing
out.
ever was we were told by our boss, our mutual boss, I'm going to be surprised if 1,000 people sign up for this. And I was like, oh, like to the red teaming thing, I'm just like, challenge accepted, my friend.
We'll get 10K of these fucking things because it's
You
free
know,
shit.
So, well, it was with a bunch of conditions, right? And
Yeah, free gift with purchase.
we,
Dude, do you know how crazy? Dude, let me tell you. Finish your thought. I'll tell you a story about free gift with purchase after this.
which I'm sure is probably the same story. So we put this thing out. We met a. They were not called influencers at the time because recognize this is now 9-10 years ago.
We talked about that too a decade ago.
And we seeded the idea with a couple of bloggers. We had 100 signups in an hour. We had 2,000 signups in 2 hours. We had 19,000 signups in about 6.5 hours. And then we were told to shut it down.
That's right. I forgot about this.
And we're like, shut it down. Oh, I don't know. Hang on. Let me go call down to the IT department and see like who we need to file the form to shut the form off. And
whoops.
And Dylan had called the guy and he's like, yeah, I can do it. Hang on. And he's like, well, hold on a minute. Just hang on. And then we both like set the phone down and we're like, we're still watching the thing go up. And he's like, I'm going to shut it off at like 25,000. So we call the guy back and we're sort of like, all right, shut it down. Well, he ended up going home for the day. So we had to track him down. So it went the entire night and into the morning.
Oh my God. Perfect.
By the time we came back, it was less than 24 hours. We had 75,000 people signed up.
Dude, why would you turn that? It's like you have demand. Like it's such a strong signal. And this is kind of like
said not everybody's going to. We had a database now of 75,000 interested people that we did not have before. And like the first thing that we did was cross-check them against current customers. And like half of them were current customers, half of them, half of the half were probably very active. So like not a lot of upside to the company to really market heavily to these people. They're already active customers. But that still left like almost 30,000 not particularly active or brand new who we followed up with some of them. We're like, why have you never shopped with us before? It's like, you guys seem like you're so far behind Sephora. Like, why would I bother? Right?
Basically.
It's like the first interesting, exciting thing they've seen come from this like dying company in like more than 20 years,
Yeah. I mean, the
Shut
core
it down,
premise.
Keith. Shut it down.
God. It's clear when the turf war stuff. The problem was we did, coming from the group that we worked in, there were too many of those examples that came out of that. It's like every couple months it was like some new fresh hell somebody else had to deal with. It wasn't a bad thing. It was like they were just pissed that they didn't think of it first. So they couldn't figure out how to like put it together with like minimal resources, and that's what we're really good at. And what we were trying to get the higher ups at Macy's to see was that if you have this huge catalog that was actually accessible and searchable, which it wasn't because it was just old infrastructure, then you had this huge playground. And even the influencers, it's like, why don't you turn the leased model on its head where influencers could like lease part of the capacity, and they have a whole bridal thing, and it's like bridal gets them into like the baby and then the shower, and then it's like the kid's first prom or whatever. It's like there's a whole longer customer life cycle that you can build based on families or whatever, and it just it
Nobody
becomes very
thinks it's
clear.
systems.
Well, it's there,
No one thinks it's systems.
but it's the leadership that doesn't think in systems either. And it's like if the leadership doesn't see or understand, they're just like, I'm making my EPS, I'm getting my bit, so fuck it, I don't
Yeah.
care. And it's like
Yeah.
that's why these things die out eventually.
Well, I mean, I think you've hit on something else, which is, you have to have a calibrated risk profile that's like looking at the long game, right? It's like one of the reasons why, you know, done well, you end up with something like Bell Labs, right? It's like a
Yeah,
monopoly. They're not going away anywhere, but they're thinking about problems that are 10, 20, 30 years out, and they're
dude.
they're generally right, on those timelines. But when you're trying to be right on a quarter by quarter basis, you're just
Oh, it's
rolling the
not about being right.
dice.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
it's.
literally rolling the dice. And you're like, I think this one's going to be good.
I mean, it's like Brian Nickel at Starbucks right now. It's like they changed like the Starbucks by me. Like it's cheap enough. It's a large coffee relative to like the hipster stuff. That's like $9 now for. It's like you can't even get a large iced coffee. It's cold brew, so they can upsell you. And I'm like, dude, this is. I'm like, it's annoying. And I'm like, look, this guy, because he got pinched and hit for like the climate BS because he was flying a jet like 3 days a week from like California to like Seattle or something. I'm like, this dude needs to do interviews of people on the plane, and it's like that would be huge. It's like the guy, what's his name, Sal or Saul, like in the jet business. He has a YouTube channel where he sells 5, 10, 15, $30 million jets to like the Prince of Saudi Arabia or whatever. And he
Mm-hmm.
breaks it through the business, and he's like, this is a fixed cost, it's your hard cost. You want 20 people, but whatever. And it's like it's kind of entertaining because you get a peek into a place you wouldn't normally see. And I'm like, dude, that guy I Starbucks could tap into this, And you obviously like if people are going to say BS and like go on a tirade, it's like you screen people, but there's such those kind of things people aren't doing, and they could be doing to like reinvigorate. Like, oh, there's actually like real blood in this old stodgy company now that it didn't used to be.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, for sure.
I
I
don't know,
mean,
man.
maybe one thing to end on from my week, and back to the red teaming thing. And by the way, like, we should encourage people to go find that form and record something, because that would be a brilliant segment. But I used I I can only hear, and then sorry, go on the ridiculous journey through my mind.
It's all good.
I only, every time I think about the last big op that we did, right, the shaming op, like see
The
what all of
bookmark.
your see what all of your innovation has done to the customer at checkout. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, that was the
And all I
best.
can
One
think
of the best
about
ops.
is all I can think about is you know the end of Die Hard, because you used, well, the weather outside is frightful.
Oh, a kick in the head.
As you know, you're doing the zoom in, like it's like the parking lot, the entry, then like we're at the the checkout or whatever. I used that video on Tuesday, part of it. I didn't show them the whole thing, but I used part of that video on Tuesday to talk about that op, because we're doing a very similar thing where I work currently, where let's show the execs how this actually works. And we've had two experiences. We've juxtaposed them. One, we had a principal engineer actually use our stuff
You mean from Macy's or your stuff at?
currently.
Okay.
So imagine somebody has to set up cloud infrastructure.
Yep.
We put the person who we thought was going to be an absolute dead ringer in terms of like, yep, you go here, then you do this, and then this happens, and you connect these things, and then this happens, and then, like, look, you've got a database. Look, now you can do data visualization, right?
Subject matter expert.
Subject matter expert, principal
Satya
engineer.
Nadella doing his AS100 demo on fucking Microsoft Excel like 30 years ago or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So imagine that. It ended up being multiple sessions over multiple days, elapsed running time to get this very basic setup, which involved taking 5 or 6 services and stringing them together to get to an end result. It was more than 9 or 10 hours of elapsed time. Plus, she couldn't complete the
Oh my God. Was it because of like a bug or because she couldn't do it or what happened?
Literally couldn't do it.
Was it just because the system wouldn't enable it, or so it was like she couldn't do it?
No one knows. And I mean, so imagine now somebody outside of the company trying to do the same thing. So 9 or 10 hours is the expert who works for the company trying to do it.
Dude, this is like the most Monolith thing ever, where it's like, oh yeah, it take 10 minutes, no problem, 10 minutes.
So then we did it again this week, different problem space, one product setup, to get you to a place where it's an app builder, right? The thing that I'm doing now, George, it's an app builder. My designer figured out how to do it, but we couldn't actually get her demo up and running because for some reason, after she completed the task, the system decided that whatever she had set up was insecure and shut it all down and shut her out of the system. So she could no longer use the system.
It backhacked her. It thought she was hacking it, basically.
Yes. So then we're like, all right, well, we'll just grab, the principal product manager who also knows the space pretty well. And we'll do it in real time. Like, my designer's like, oh, it'll take like an hour. We can get it all done. There's like 9 of us on the phone, all of us with knowledge around, some or all of the system, but the product manager really knows the systems. Couldn't do it.
So it's just too complicated. It just wouldn't happen.
It's just like, and watching her do it was amazing. She had probably 10 tabs open. It's like, oh, and then I got to go over here and copy this. Hang on, let me do that. Okay, wait. Now I got to move my credentials from here to here. Okay, let me go do that. Oh, now I got to go over here and tell this system that it actually needs to grant this other system access. Like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, and what does this enable us to do? And the product manager's like, that's storage. I'm like, that's what it took to spin up just being able to store the result out of this thing? She's like, yeah. I'm like,
what were you trying to get it to? Were you trying to get it to do something complicated?
We're trying to get it to a place where we could actually have a working environment to build an application and then use this tool to build the application.
So this is just like the tool setup in the environment to build the thing that you actually wanted to build.
That's right.
Dude. Like,
so,
okay.
So 2 things. One, show the video of, hey, here's what happens when innovation goes wrong, or here's what happens when you turn a bunch of product teams loose to do their own thing and they work in silos and they're doing the right thing by the customer for them, but they are not cognizant of all of the other things that we're doing right by the customer in the same like workflow. And my boss is like, this is brilliant. We need to record the next one of these things and show it to like the execs. I'm like, yeah, you want people with their heads down on the desk crying? Like, this is the way to do it. And he's like, I want to do it. I'm like, dude, great, let's do it.
Having video skills, a little bit of video skills and like storytelling, it's like, you're so dangerous because you're just like, you can't deny it.
We're flying to Seattle with a bunch of, Insta360s, and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have like the one overhead. We're going to have like the one to the side. We're going to have the one on our screen, like.
Dude, it's so easy to jam sync this shit in like Premiere or Final Cut. It auto syncs it now. Like it was in its infancy when we did it. We had to do it by hand, but for now it's just like you just put it together.
It's the 360. I can just say start at this point, all cameras, and then I can just be like, show this. Okay, show this. It's brilliant. Super quick.
and then you can go back and there's tools now that let you extract text out of the speech to create like a script.
Yep.
So you could just copy paste that, drop it in LM or whatever, and be like, find me these pieces, find me this, make me a new cut, boom, 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 and it's like it's
Yeah.
so much faster now.
It's pretty
Yeah.
amazing. All right, take us out, Keith. What do you got?
Oh
It's on the
man.
back end. You're
Well,
usually good at summarizing all of our high points.
let me show you. Hang on, screen. I may have to share this. Hang on. Can you see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, hang on. So if you want to leave us a message, I haven't tested this, but it will work. If you go to the monolith.tv/contact, you can send us an email or you can record a message.
Nice.
So record us a message. Tell us what company dilemma, political bullshit, whatever issue you're having. You don't have to say the name of the company, people's names. Give us context. Give us like what you guys are doing. Just tell us what's up, and then we'll play it, and then we'll tell you how to fix it, and we'll give you. This will be great. Like this is going to be fun because I think this is something we're really good at this, and like we want to help you help yourself in the process. But yeah, the monolith.tv/contact. You can record a message. Yeah, that's what I wanted to get into. But
Nice.
What was the other thing I was thinking about? The last bit, the Banksy. Did you see the Banksy that got like they've spray painted over?
No.
There was a barrister walking in front of it. Let me see if I can find this real quick.
Oh, I did see that.
It looked like the second slide in the deck that we did.
Yep.
Hang on. Presentation. I can't. It's not. Wait, screen. It's because I'm in the wrong browser. Yeah, one of the first things we were showing in our deck, I gotta find it and pull it up, but it was basically all these barristers or like judges in the UK, and they all have these like old wigs on. It's like we've always been doing it the same way, and it's like it's so classic.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I saw this.
I've used that. Like the whole just because we've always done it this way doesn't mean that we should continue to do it this way. Like everybody in the same wigs. Yeah.
I'll have to find that for later. But I was thinking about that. But yeah, dude, this is the time. Like, there's a business case. There's something about being a hacker, being a business person, being a systems person, and finding out how to pull it all together. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something here. And I think the implementation we had before were like the corporation part. I almost think it'd be more fun to like help people with their problems. So I really hope people like submit audio. But I think the real next wave is going to be helping individuals spin up smaller teams to compete against the bigger companies. Because like you just said, it's like you couldn't even get a freaking environment set up. And it's like, if it takes that much work for someone who's like a pro and works in the company who's been there a decade, it's like at some point the AI is just going to like figure out how to do it faster. And, you know, the innovation will move somewhere else.
Yeah.
But
I mean, and again, I think it will figure those things out, but we are going to need to tell it what, and again, I know if we ran an AI script that'd be like Cam says, systems thinking too much, but at the very bottom of the systems thinking chart is defining new mental models. And like, this is the moment where all of the existing mental models are going to get tossed.
100%.
That is my top level 50,000 foot learning over the last 6 months. If you are not rethinking the mental models, you might as well just stop, because none of this stuff that we have deemed super relevant is going to remain relevant. And in fact, a lot of the things that we've done that we thought were incredibly relevant and we sort of built our, immutable laws around in terms of the internet, everything's in beta right now.
Yeah. Dude, 100%. And like all this crazy holy war shit going to like digital ID to like it's all the foundations were laid since from like 2018 till now. We're going to start seeing what the next wave looks like next February. And then, now it's like one of the best examples I heard was, okay, this is going back to the past to get all the tools, the best of the best of the tools that you had, to bring those forward. It's not the point anymore, but it's like, okay, you got to make your run, start making the run now. And it's like, just fuel it with curiosity, just try new stuff, especially if you're employed now, just try it. Especially, our kids in college, like I know it's like, oh, what am I going to do for a job later? It's like, dude, you're in school, like you have time to mess around and you don't have to worry about like health insurance and bills yet. Like leverage the time to
Yeah.
get ahead. Don't get caught up in the social media bullshit and everything. Unplug from that, put the time back into this. And you're going to see, I really think you're going to start seeing a lot of like really big small companies, big meaning like large revenue, high margin, small person companies. Cause it's like, once you kind of figure it out, you get that like the right customer profile, the right product market fit with the right like business case. It's like, all right, cool. You just kind of like keep feeding it
Yeah.
and just grow it, man.
Yeah. I'm going to go figure out some 3D printing.
That's the next one. That's why I think Intel is important too. I mean, dude, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. I've been thinking about that. I didn't want to veer this conversation away from systems thinking too much, but it's a brave new world and there's a lot of opportunity. So there's still a lot of, there's room for everyone to grow. It doesn't have to be zero sum and winner take all. Like trust me, there's ways to leverage the change. So
yeah, stay curious.
Yeah, man.
All right, Keith. As always,
Cam, dude, always a pleasure.
Yeah,
I'll have to try and get a new one in sooner than later. I know it's been kind of a wild couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm just glad you're feeling better. Really, like
likewise. Thanks, man.
Yeah,
it's par for the course, dude. It's like, zombie apocalypse trading. What are you gonna do in New York? It's like I seriously feel like it's like a GTA level living in this city.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, on our end, it's like things move slower out here, but it's like my son lost his mind and his appendix in the last like 6 weeks. So we're dealing with that fun stuff.
How's he doing?
Yeah, he's good. I'll have to talk about the medical establishment at some point. It's another fascinatingly weird space to be in.
Okay, that'll be like maybe it would be like, how do we red team and re-business case different verticals? That could be a good segment too. On like,
dude, there's so much like ripe for possibility there. Yeah, write that down. That's a good thought.
Red team and cis think.
All right, I'm gonna call it.
All right, Cam. Always a pleasure, brother.
Keith. All right,
man.
See
Later.
ya.